Want to be smarter? Want to be fitter? Want to be wealthier? Want to be better? This is Infinite Transcendence, where life mastery meets humor and sarcasm with a blunt approach. This is the place where we talk about mastering your life without the usual feel-good aspect. This podcast is designed for people who want useful tips and information while being entertained. So sit back and enjoy the program.
Hello again and welcome to Infinite Transcendence, and today I want to talk about when to be stubborn. What 4 times you should be stubborn in life, or 4 major times. People say stubbornness is bad and you shouldn't be stubborn. You should always be willing to help and be willing to do this and be nice and friendly. But there's definitely a time where I think stubbornness plays a good part, and being stubborn gives you a big edge in life, because when you give up quickly, sometimes you just don't want to move your ground. Sometimes you want to hold still and hold firm and just say no. You want to be stubborn. You want to go against what can be considered quote unquote all reason by most people, because what's considered against all reason or illogical for a lot of people, for some people can make a lot of sense. So what are these times that you want to be stubborn and just grit your teeth and hold your ground? Okay, sometimes be stubborn. One, you have a big passion about something. You got to have that reasonable level of thought and that reasonable level of discernment when you're trying to succeed at something. You have a passion at something, but you also, when you're becoming successful or you're chasing a passion, you got to go against a lot of naysayers. You got to go against a lot of people who are going to say no. People are going to say you can't do it. You're not this enough. You're too lazy. You're not attractive enough. You're not this. You're not that. And sometimes people may have a good point, but a lot of times people are just scared of succeeding themselves. They try to hold you down. So what you need to do is you need to know when to be stubborn. You got to know when to say, no, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. Now, a lot of times you're going to fail, because you're trying to achieve greatness. You will fail along the way. But that's part of what being stubborn is. You got to find a way to be stubborn in a good way and hold yourself down and grit your teeth and push and always fight and keep going for the good fight when other people tell you can't accomplish something. Because if you don't, you'll end up going for mediocrity, and you'll be like a lot of people who just took the easy way out, or didn't think, or didn't plan, or they just weren't ready, or didn't put themselves in that right position. And another time is when you've been wrong. There are times where it's good to turn the other cheek and just ignore things, but there are times when something happens, you need to make an example. Not necessarily always a violent example, but sometimes you got to fight back. Sometimes you got to hold your ground and not just let it go, because if you let things go, a lot of times the behavior gets worse. For instance, somebody messes with something of yours and you say, please don't touch my stuff, and they just keep touching it and keep touching it, keep messing with your things. And after a while, you got to make a stink. You might have to go run and tell somebody about it. You might have to go confront them. A lot of times people say, well, just let it go. It's no big deal. Sometimes you can't let it go, because once people see somebody else doing something to you that's wrong, what happens is a lot of other people start doing the same thing. They start copying that person. They see that you're a pushover, that you're a schmuck, that you can't fight back, that you're a wimp. And there's times you have to say, you know what? No, I've had it. Because for me, I like to generally be left alone. And people may think that you're confrontational or like picking fights. But in reality, I like to be left alone, just keep to myself most of the time. But sometimes people just won't let things go, or people can be resentful, or people can just want to start problems, or they can just do something that you don't like. I'll give you an example. For instance, religion. It's not even being wrong, but I used to be religious and I'm not really anymore. I have no problem with people who are religious, but I always had people who I know who are religious who keep trying to force their religion on me, and they keep trying to tell me I need to do this and I need to do that, and it gets to a point where it gets annoying. Usually I just ignore and not say anything, but eventually I have to say a point, look, I respect your ability to have a religion and you have your opinions and things like that, but look, I don't believe in it. Could you please stop forcing your opinion on me, because I do not appreciate it and I do not like it. And then I'll say, if they say, okay, I'm sorry, that's fine. But some people argue, and I'll say, well, look, you can do it wrong, but if you continue to do this, I'm just going to simply stop talking to you. And eventually they get the hint and leave it alone. So there are times where if you feel you've been wronged, or you have been wrong, or somebody's doing something you don't like, sometimes you got to hold your foot down and communicate and put yourself in the fire. You can't always let things go, because once you let things go, you end up letting a lot of things go, and then it just never goes anywhere. Excuse me. So, and there's also times where, you want to be in a place where there's a lot of times you want to be stubborn when you could have done something. When you're healthy, definitely when it comes to being healthy, your health is on the line, be stubborn. There's a lot of times where you want to be in a better shape and you want to take better care of yourself. You need to be stubborn, because a lot of times in the early parts of taking care of yourself, you're going to have that early phase where it's really, really rough and really, really hard to get yourself back into shape, to get yourself back in line, to get yourself back in check. You got to fight and push against those limits and keep going. When it comes to health and it comes to putting your life on the line, something like that, you got to be able to say no. A lot of times you got family members or friends, you want to eat healthier, they're going to say, here, try this ice cream, or here, try this cake, or here, try this candy. They'll know you're on a diet, but a lot of times they're jealous that you're going to look better than they do, so they want to force that stuff onto you to bring you down where they're at. That's when you have to say no. I don't want these items. I don't want these things. And people say, well, it's nothing wrong with a little snack. It's just a little treat. Once you treat yourself sometime, you got to start saying, no, I don't want it. I can't eat that. You know I'm allergic to that. Stop giving it to me. Or I can't have that food. And it seems difficult. It seems like it's mean. But people are eventually going to get the hint. And there are definitely times you should be stubborn about that. So, and there's a lot of times where, yeah, you've been told something that you don't know. There's a lot of times you can be stubborn when you think you could do something, but you can't really do something. Where you have a time in your life where things get confusing or things you knew you could do and they say you can't do. For instance, it can be, a lot of times people tell you can't do something or that you can't have something that you can't. I said it early on in passion, when it comes to passion and accomplishing things. But a lot of times people will tell you something in a fear of keeping you out of the dark and in a fear or of not taking a certain risk. Like, I'll give you an example that may seem like, for instance, a lot of people are scared to, I'll give you two great examples of this one. Sometimes you gotta be stubborn when it comes to this, because it comes to fear. I guess it'd be more of a fear-based stubbornness. A lot of people are scared of asking people out, and if you ask them why they don't do it, guys will generally say, why don't you talk to that person you see the attractive to this? I want to be seen as creepy or weird. And I don't want, that's not what you're supposed to do. And a lot of times, a girl may say something like, girls aren't supposed to do that. They may think I'm slutty or something similar to that. Those are times where you need to be stubborn and just keep pushing and not worry about what people say, because a lot of times fear-based restraints are the worst, because you start to realize a lot of times things just aren't that bad. So you ask a person out and talk to them. After a while, it seems hard at first, and you realize, look, it's not even that big of a deal. That's when you need to be stubborn, because when you're in the early stages of doing something new, they get you out of your comfort zone. You often find that you get into a hard part where it's difficult to progress because you feel like you should do something, or that you can't do something, or that you've been told that you're not supposed to do something because some moral reason or some conventional reason. But you want to go against that and push forward anyways. And one great reason, I think, is definitely asking people out. For a lot of people, they find now in modern times, they find that weird and unusual to talk to people during the day. Practice going out another one is definitely talking to strangers. I will also say, I'm going to make a topic about this, is talking to strangers. A lot of people feel that, like, people say America is really social, but I find it interesting. People are social in a way where they're not so isolated, but in some ways people always hang out with their groups of followers. Like, they go out with their friends of people they know really well, and they only hang out with them and they ignore everybody else. What I often find is that people find it so scary to go up and talk to a person they don't know because they want to be seen as weird or creepy or bothersome. But I talk to strangers all the time, and really, it's not that bad. It's great to get out and meet new people, and I find that talking to people I don't know, and a lot of times, can be better than talking to people I do know. So go out there, and when people say you can't do something because it's fear-based, that's the time to be stubborn. So there's lots of time to be stubborn. The 4 main reasons to be stubborn and ways to be stubborn in your life is if it's something that's passionate to you, if it's something you've been wronged about or feel like you've been wronged about, if it's something people say you can't do, or something that when it comes to health or something important to you in terms of health or taking care of yourself. Those are definitely 4 times where you need to be stubborn, you need to grind down and put your heels in, because if you don't have that grit, if you don't have that get up and go or go together, you're going to have a hard time succeeding and going against the grain and going against that crowd on whatever you're trying to accomplish. So that's all something you should definitely keep in mind. Let me know, are you already stubborn about a lot of things? Are you stubborn about the wrong things? Do you feel being stubborn is always bad? Always let me know. Like, subscribe, join the community, check out the Patreon page, patreon.com, infinite_transcendence. And as like I said, always like, subscribe, and transcend infinitely.
Want more? Come hang out, become a member of our community, and receive exclusive content and rewards at patreon.com/infinite_transcendence. Want even more? Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment the video and subscribe to the podcast. Still want more? Check out the written article version and subscribe to the Infinite Transcendence website at infinitetranscendence.com for new and interesting quality content. Also like our Facebook at Infinite Transcendence, and follow our Twitter at transcend_world. Keep watching and listening. See you next time, and transcend infinitely.